Welcome to the Grace channel, Grace on Fire, bravely creating with wild abandon that which sets our hearts on fire. And we are so blessed and I am so grateful and excited to have this most amazing guest. He's a dear and special person, even a friend. He is Chef Bryan Woolley, and he is on KUTV Channel 2. He is the celebrity chef and TV personality. Welcome, Chef Bryan. Welcome to Grace on Fire. So happy you're here.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it very much. And of course, this is Gus, who's joining us.
Gus is joining us as well. Wonderful.
He'll be back.
Chef Bryan, I'm so excited to have you here. And it was down, it was maybe a year ago to the set, and we met. I brought coffee and you cooked this most amazing dish, and you allowed me to taste some, and it was so healthy and so delicious and so amazing. And you're making these recipes for everybody can get on and watch your show. What time is your show?
So every day, Monday through Friday, I'm on KUTV, Channel 2 here in Salt Lake City, Utah at noon to 1. I'm part of the noon news. And then you can also join me on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. for Cooking with Chef Bryan, which is a full 30-minute show of cooking.
Wow.
So please tune in.
Yes. I know everything that you've made is amazingly tasty and healthy.
Oh, thank you.
And healthy. So you create a great balance, and you're providing all these wonderful recipes and foods, and you're obviously a master chef. But my question is, Chef Bryan, what is your favorite food?
Oh, that's a great question. My favorite food, honestly, without even thinking, I have to say fried chicken. I love fried chicken. And it's because my grandma would make the best fried chicken when we were growing up. Whenever we go to grandma's house, she'd always make fried chicken. And she had this old roaster oven. And she'd pan sear the chicken first and then put it in that old roaster oven that was just on the countertop. And kind of like an old slow cooker, but a roaster pan. And she would cook that chicken all day. I mean, for hours in there. And the house would smell so good. And it just, these memories of grandma and sitting around the kitchen table with family and extended family. And we would have fried chicken and pickled beets, which I love still to this day. So many people are like, oh, pickled beets. Yeah, I love them. And green beans from the garden and everything. But fried chicken, probably the very top favorite food of mine, because not only is it delicious, but it has so many fond memories for me. So a family and grandma and all that closeness and everything. So that's definitely my favorite food.
Wow. Well, will you be cooking that chicken on the TV show one of these days?
I've done it several times, actually. That if you go to my website, cookingwithchefbryan.com, you can type in fried chicken and it'll pull up several variations of fried chicken, and all of them are variations of grandma's fried chicken. So yeah.
Perfect. Oh my goodness. Well, there you have it. The chef's favorite food, grandma's fried.
Who doesn't love fried chicken, right?
Right, especially when grandma makes it. Grandmas don't realize the influence they have on their family,
true.
Especially when it comes to sustenance and food.
Very true.
Amazing. So, Chef Bryan, you are on Channel 2 here in Salt Lake City. And I'm not sure how long you have been on, but I'd love to hear how long you've been on and the history of, how you got onto TV, how long you've been on TV, kind of your history of TV.
I'm the longest running TV chef now in America. So right here in Salt Lake City, the longest, 30 years just about. And it has a really interesting history to how I started onto it. I used to teach many years ago at Sur La Table, which was a cooking store. And one of the producers from Fox Television called and asked if they had a chef that could come on. I just happened to be there getting ready for class. And so they handed me the phone. So it started there, and I was on Fox Television for years, and then just migrated over to KUTV Channel 2. And that's how it started. And so it was such one of those wonderful things that, you know, I love cooking. I love food. I love what it does for people. I love the happiness that it brings to them. But I also love to perform, and I have a degree in music. And so I sang opera, believe it or not, for several years. And so I really missed that performing on stage and singing and that. So I created basically an area, a work for me that involves two of my most biggest passions of performing and cooking. And so every day I get to cook and show people how to make their lives better, how to bring delicious food into their lives. And I get to almost perform in front of an audience, even though it's a cameraman and a camera. But, you know, behind that camera are thousands and thousands and thousands of people, which I just love being able to show them how to make delicious food, because I believe everybody needs delicious food. I kind of have a saying to where it's like, every soul needs good art, and food is art. So it's just one of those things that I'd love to be able to go through the grocery store if I'm shopping and have somebody come up to me and say, oh, I made your potato salad for our family reunion, and it was so wonderful, and it made so many people happy. And I mean, you don't get better rewards like that in life than hearing that something you did actually attributed to the happiness of others. And I think that is so key. I wish more people would strive to live that way, so that their lives bring happiness to others and not sadness.
So true, Bryan.
It's true. And it's delicious.
Oh, yes. Delicious and happiness all wrapped up in one yummy, decadent food. And then, of course, happiness follows. Or you can't help but to follow that.
It's true. How could you not be happy when you taste some delicious food?
Oh, yes. Yes. Life is short, and we need the decadent stuff to keep us happy.
Yes, that is true. Food is art, and every soul needs beautiful art. So
love that. Food is art. Food is art, and the way you prepare it and present it is art.
Well, it is, and people forget too. I firmly feel that the emotions and the love that goes into the preparation of the food is passed on to people. I mean, they feel if you're loved. I think that's why I love Grandma's kitchen or chicken so much, is that it was made with so much love. I mean, it was Grandma, and so not only was it delicious, but you felt such heart love in there when you were enjoying it. So
that is so beautiful. It's so true. I mean, you're such a light being. You just emanate so much love. And I believe that, you know, when you're preparing the food, when you are in that state of wanting to bring happiness to others and just in your beautiful heart, that energy is transferred into the food, and the energy of it.
I'm convinced of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to eat food from an angry chef.
No. Because one of those things is, what did they put in it?
Right. I want to eat food from you.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yes. Bryan, before we got on, we were talking a little, and you were telling me how you have traveled the world quite extensively. Yeah. You have done some traveling, which I want to hear about some of those travels. And I especially want to hear about your favorite place to travel.
Well, sure. Sure. You know, many, many years ago, I had a chef tell me that you can never be a chef unless you experience the cultures of the world and the food that they represent. And so I kind of made it a life mission at that point that I wanted to travel more. I love to travel. And so I made it a mission to go travel. And so I've been through Russia, and I've been into the Netherlands, and through Scandinavia and Europe and America and South America, up into Canada. And
Wow.
the latest and greatest, the Far East, which I have to say, Japan is one of the most amazing countries and probably the top of my favorites of travel. And I've got to tell you a little story about this, because everywhere I go, I think, oh, could I open up a store here? Would that be fun? Would it be worth it? And I thought, oh, I'll come over to Japan. Let's see, what they have over here. I was mind boggled at the perfection. I don't know if I could open anything in Japan, because they are such perfectionists. Everything is perfect over there. The food is perfect. The packaging is perfect that the food comes in, the display, the presentation. It was such an eye-opening experience of beauty to me, for the food and the way that it's prepared, the master's hands behind that. I went over and actually worked with some master sushi chefs to learn how to do sushi, and just how they cut, how they fillet a fish, how they present it, how they make the rice, which, so many of us, we make rice, we throw rice into a pot, throw some water and boil it till it's cooked, and, stuff. But it's not like that. I mean, there's so much care, there's so much history, there's so much just hours and hours and years of experience that go into making just that rice for sushi. It was beyond comprehension for me at the time, because I was not expecting that. And so not only from a culinary standpoint, Japan was brilliant, but also from a historical and beauty standpoint, it was unsurpassed for me. I mean, the culture of Japan and the way that the history of it and everything, how the food just intertwines with all of that, it's very humbling to see that, because it was beautiful to see everything that they would do, from the sushi, from just the regular dinner, from just rice, how they would prepare rice. And I got to tell you, my friend, I had fresh rice right out of the rice field. It was amazing. It was amazing. The rice that we buy in the store here and cook up and think it tastes good, it tastes nothing like fresh rice out of the field, because fresh rice just has this most nutty and aromatic and just aromas and flavors to it that I think dwindle and kind of disperse when it's stored and dried over long periods of time. Just like many foods, you experience that way when you have the fresh food, and you're like, oh, this is so different from something. And believe it or not, another one is the potato. If you've ever had a fresh dug potato versus one that you've just bought from the store, there is a huge difference in flavor, textures, tastes. It's just, fresh is always the best thing. That's kind of the little unspoken word of a chef, is that they have three ways that they always go: fresh food first, and then frozen food next, because generally it's frozen fresh, and the last is canned food or processed food.
Yeah.
And so, everybody that listens, please go out and use fresh foods, use fresh ingredients, foods that are in season, foods that are locally available. Go to your farmers markets and enjoy fresh foods there, and just really enjoy everything that it can bring to your life. It's beautiful. That's what happened to me in Japan, is just experienced a whole culinary awakening that I was not expecting. And so it just is a top favorite of my place to go now. So I can't wait to go back.
Wow, you got me inspired. I want to go and
Oh God. It is truly amazing. The one thing is, though, I can't stand slurping sounds. And when I did one of these genealogical ancestry DNA tests, that are so readily available now with so many different companies, I found out that it is actually a genetic disposition, that sound. And there is a name for it, and I can't remember what it is, but there is a name for that disposition, and I have it. It's so funny, and so it runs in my family, I think. And the Asian culture, they slurp a lot. They enjoy their food. They savor it and everything. And I was in a ramen shop, and I couldn't get out of there fast enough because they were slurping all around me, and I'm just like, oh, I can't stand that sound. But it was well worth it. I'd go back in a heartbeat and do it again.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, when all these restrictions lift off, we'll be heading out.
Can't wait.
Some of these beautiful tropical places. And
yes, and there is something about just lying on a beach that is pretty darn good.
It's always nice to get away. It's always nice, and it's nice to see a different world and see how different cultures live. And as a chef, how different food is prepared, and that experience in Japan. Yeah.
It's amazing, because I don't think a lot of people realize that food is a direct reflection of the art and the culture of the people. So I remember when I was studying many years ago in college, getting my degree, one of my professors said, well, it's like Italian operas. They're very lyrical, they're very light, they're very airy, they're very enjoyable to listen to, and that's because it represents their food. The Italians, when they want something for dinner, they go out to the garden and they see what's ripe and what's in season, and that's what they cook with, and their operas reflect that. He says, now contrast it to German operas, which are very heavy, Wagnerian, just very heavy, deep operas. And he said, their foods are very pickled. And so they preserve a lot of their foods for the winter months from the summer. And so they don't have that privilege of going out and finding, what's ripe in the garden every single night of the year. They have to plan ahead and preserve and pickle their foods. And they said their operas really represent that. They're not the light, airy, lyrical operas in general for German operas. They're very heavy and stout and very, they just have a lot of oomph to them. And that's simply because he said, look at the food of just the two different areas and compare the art of the two different areas. And I thought that was very fascinating at the time, all those years ago. And I've kind of just kept that through my life, that truly food is art, and it is reflected in the culture.
It is art, and it takes an artist to prepare it, put that love into it, make it beautiful and fresh like you do. And do you ever sing opera while you're cooking your meals?
I do a little bit. I don't sing as much as I used to anymore. I don't have really the opportunities to sing, and my life path has taken me in a different direction from that singing. But I still enjoy it. I come from a very musical family. I grew up thinking that my mom was Julie Andrews. I mean, she sounded just like Julie Andrews growing up. And her sister was also a soprano who sang with the San Francisco Opera. And my cousins would always joke and say, yeah, we pretty much grew up watching our mom die over and over on stage in the operas, know. And so it's true. But I grew up loving to hear my mom sing. I thought she was Julie Andrews and Mary Poppins, and I'm like, Mom, that's you. But yeah, so I enjoy music. I love music. I think it's beautiful. I enjoy listening to it, and I really enjoy all types of music. I think they all have a place. There are some that I prefer over others, but I think all music is fascinating because it is another language.
Yes.
And so you feel the language in your heart. That's how you speak with music. It's heard and understood in the heart or the soul.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'd love to have you sing a little opera while you're cooking sometime. Just for fun.
I have on occasion. I'm
sure when you're home.
Yeah.
In that beautiful kitchen of yours.
Oh, thanks.
Well, Bryan, Chef Bryan, thank you so much for being on this highlight for Grace on Fire. We're so honored to have you. And
My pleasure.
that Chef Bryan Woolley .com is your
cooking with chefbryan.com.
okay,
So you can head over there
with Chef
with Bryan.com.
Perfect. Check it out, and you have your recipes. You post them pretty much daily, what you're showing and cooking, so people can go, oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So go and check out some of his amazing recipes. They're all delicious. They're usually very healthy too, and decadent, and yes, filled with love.
Yes.
We're so honored to have you on the show.
Oh, the honor is mine. Thank you for having me.